Snacko is an adorable farming simulation game where you play as a cat, and with its cutesy graphics, you wouldn't expect that the premise of the story can go a bit dark. Right off the bat, you'll be thrown into the feelings of desperation and fear of the duo, your character and Mikan, your childhood friend, on how they want a new life. And what better way to start fresh than on a cursed miasma-filled island called Snacko? In this video, we'll cover 7 things that you need to know before playing Snacko Early Access. I'll be sharing what I enjoyed and what I think can be improved in my experience, and hopefully, by the end of the video, you should have a good idea of whether or not this game is for you. First up is the world building. In Snacko, you're on a mission to revive a cursed island as a city kitty looking for more than just a 9-to-5 job. Now I know I mentioned earlier that the game started pretty dark, but you can say the same with Stardew Valley, I guess. Only in this game, it's a bit more descriptive and it also shows, not just tells, which I appreciate from a storytelling perspective. The narrative makes sense on how the island is nearly deserted, how you get that prime piece of land, and how you'll be starting from scratch and restoring a community. The story does get brighter early on, focusing on ways you can clean up the island, while the lore is seamlessly integrated with the revitalization of the island. There are some peculiarities to uncover, and I do think that this keeps things fresh and interesting enough in the lore to look forward to. One of my favorite features in farming simulation games is the personalization. In Snacko, you can customize not only your looks, but also your home and the town. With options like placing items off-grid and rotating freely, there's plenty of room for creativity. Most of the blueprints of the furniture are already available once you've unlocked the carpenters, so you can decide which theme or mix-match the furniture depending on your chosen aesthetic early on. The materials might only be attainable mid-game though. As for your character, the customizations aren't exactly robust, but there's definitely a lot of options. You can choose different parts to be colored in a certain way. The UI though was a bit challenging when using the Steam Deck, but more on that later. Suffice it to say, I do think Snacko has a lot of features in terms of personalizing your gameplay, looking how you want, living in a cozy home designed by you, and hanging out in a town that you built and organized from scratch. Going to the meat of the game, the gameplay. In Snacko, you'll farm, raise animals, fish, and build to turn the village into a thriving home. You can grow up to 12 distinct crops, make use of fertilizer, and increase the star rating of the crop. Given that the game is still in early access, this might still change, but for now I'm actually already content with this, especially since the game has a lot more to offer, like fishing. It was actually fairly challenging for me using the controller, and I'm glad that you can adjust the settings for that. Then we have crafting and cooking. You can craft over 200 items, including furniture, houses, and farming tools. The quality of life aspects are already pretty good, huge inventory from the get-go, and is global. You can craft items using materials inside storages. This means you don't need to have the materials with you at all times. It doesn't have to be on hand. Also, teleport back to home. Yes, the world is huge and you can get lost. This feature saves you a lot of time, including some form of sleeping bag that lets you sleep at your current location and awaken in the same spot the next day. You can explore the island's 4 unique biomes, each with its own disposition to discover, and challenge 4 shrines with fun puzzles. There are a lot of unique features in the game, but there are some familiar ones, like a community center that functions more like a museum, and bundles that require you to gather specific seasonal items. With so much to do and so much to uncover, the bulk of features from this game will keep you in a satisfying gameplay loop. Next is the characters and social mechanics. In Snacko, you can meet 26 characters, build friendships with them, and even find love with 21 romanceable characters. The characters are super cute and memorable. They all have unique dialogues that fit their quirky personalities. They all have a story to tell, and I'm not just talking about the characters with portraits. As you revitalize the town, more people will be visiting, and they all have interesting things to say. There is a system of gift-giving and actual romance, however the friendship events are not yet in place, but will definitely be included in the full release. Then we have the visuals. Aside from the adorable sprites and the bright fun graphics, the game has accessibility features. You can opt for gentler visuals that reduce flashing, and you can choose between world themes that change how bright and colorful the world will look. Speaking of the world, I'm actually pretty happy that you can rotate the camera 360 degrees. Some farming simulation games don't give us that much view, but I guess it comes with the territory of being able to customize the world. The art gives off a 2.5D direction for both sprite and background, and I feel that it's one of the things that make it unique. The sound effects and background music of the game are also fun. With the different biomes and seasons comes a matching cozy soundtrack that heightens the immersion of the game. You can actually purchase the original soundtrack of this game separately. If you'll try this game and enjoy bopping to the cozy sounds of it, then checking out the high-quality OST might be something you can consider. What makes Snacko unique is the overall vibe and gameplay experience. It's the personality of the cast, the storyline, and really all the small nuances of the game makes it what it is. And while you can identify the game from the art alone, my favorite part would be the freedom of movement in a 360 view of an open world. You can jump anywhere and everywhere, barring the story-locked areas in Miasma. And I've mentioned the puzzles earlier. Aside from the first one, it's actually an optional experience, but I've come to enjoy beating my personal record. Jumping and skipping on platforms and solving the puzzles is a fun mind exercise while taking a break from the farming and crafting gameplay loop. If you're a fan of farming simulation games with an amazing lore, a touch of adventure, and a fun cast, then Snacko is perfect for you. Plus, the charming graphics and soothing soundtrack make exploring the island pretty exciting. Whether you're enjoying farming, crafting, or simply immersing yourself in a heartwarming story, Snacko has something for everyone. Farming and crafting games for me is a form of relaxation where I cozy up to familiar mechanics and story-rich narratives. And in this video, I list down my top farming games of 2023 where I share my gameplay experience with a focus on the features, storyline, personalization, and the cast. If you enjoy cozy farming games as much as I do, you won't want to miss this. So click on the video and I'll see you there. Stay awesome, gamers!